Okay, welcome to the show, Antoinette Chapel.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. And we've known each other for a little while now, and I know you as an author, a business owner, an entrepreneur, and an expert or thought leader in your own right. But I'd love if you were able to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my background is translation, and I then pivoted into copywriting, and they are two industries that have been heavily transformed by AI and automation. So my job throughout has been to remain resilient and agile and sort of move with the market and the times. So as a translator, I already went through this first with translation in 2019. I could spot the automation trends before anyone was talking about it in the industry, and I thought I need to do something, otherwise my income's going to kind of go through the floor, which over time it did in terms of translation work. So what I did is I worked with a business coach. We looked at my skills, and in translation, unlike interpreting, we always deal with the written word. So I've got very strong written skills, and you always translate into your mother tongue, which of course in my case is English. So having all this experience of writing and translating text into English that have to read as if they're written in English in the first time, copywriting seemed really quite an obvious pivot. So I went on that journey. I embarked on that at the end of 2019. Then we had COVID, so I went through those times. That's around the time I probably met you. And then I got to 2023, and I thought, there are so many translators online on LinkedIn that I'm seeing and that I'm talking to that are really, really struggling. And no one in the industry was talking about it and what to do and how to pivot their translation skills. So I wrote a book called Copy That, which was a business book. It had a very niche audience, which was translators. It's now available for sale on Amazon. And it was to help them use the transferable skills that they've picked up as a translator and take them into a different profession, which is copywriting. So I did that. And then, of course, ChatGPT came along, and that's really taken over a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of copywriting. So then what I've been doing this year, I went to a lunch earlier in the year in February at the IOD that I was invited to because I was doing an interview for someone there. And I was talking to a CEO who was at that table of a large company, a London-based company that turns over sort of £50 million a year. And on the table was his phone, and his LinkedIn popped up. And I said, "Oh my God, you've got so many followers." He goes, "Yeah, but I don't know what to do with that. I haven't got any time to post on LinkedIn." He goes, "You know what? You could really help me if you could manage my LinkedIn." And I thought, well, this is an interesting thing to think about. And how would you manage a CEO's LinkedIn? So I went home. I had a chat with Claude, my AI tool that I use, and I use it a lot for my business strategy. And we developed this idea of helping CEOs with their thought leadership, which has just evolved, which we'll talk about more as the podcast goes on.
Yeah, awesome. And definitely keen to dive into the thought leadership piece, because I think that's quite a important pivot. Like I've spoken to some copywriters in the past, and there's always the talk of AI is coming for their jobs, but it really did seem like that is the case with a lot of copywriters, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess copywriters in your network, have they found that being a challenge? Like, have they tried to stay?
Oh, yes, they are really. The thing is, I've seen it already in translation where people are banging the drum for human translation is better, it's better, it's better. But the problem is in business, machine translation is good enough. So they will use that. There are very few use cases now where you would just have a purely human translation, and that would be something very sensitive, where there's lives at stake or a lot of money. So sort of legal things or medical. Okay. Other than that, it's really heavily automated, and it's just a case of asking a human to perhaps put their eyes on it and just edit it. And it's very much a QA job. And that is happening too in copywriting. So for most businesses, ChatGPT, if handled properly, prompted correctly and then edited properly, is fine for their copywriting needs. So I think copywriters are going to have to go through what translators have been through or currently going through, which is the realization they need to retrain, they need to do something else, they need to use their skills in a different way.
Yeah, and I guess the transition into thought leadership is an obvious to me it seems like a great next step, moving sideways into that piece, because I know a lot of accountants, for example, that know a lot, are thought leaders in the world, but don't really do anything on LinkedIn, right? Like they've got lessons to give and knowledge to spread, but they don't know the first thing about LinkedIn or how to get their message out. So is that kind of the target market that you were looking to go after?
Absolutely.
You know, you had that conversation with that CEO. Is that where you're like, okay, that's the niche that you want to go down?
It's people that are either they're budding C-suite often, so they want to be C-suite. So by establishing themselves as a thought leader, what happens is they will be noticed more by the recruiters, by the headhunters, because they'll have a high profile on LinkedIn. They'll be very visible online in their industry. They'll be leading the conversation, and those are exactly the sort of people that people want to hire for their C-suite. They want people that think outside the box, are creative thinkers, that are bold, that will take a stand. Because a lot of people as well on LinkedIn, did you know, I posted today, only 1% of people on LinkedIn actually post. 99% of people just consume.
Right.
So if you want to stand out in your industry, it's not that hard, is it? Just be part of the 1% that actually posts. Have a clear message, have clear content pillars, know what you're talking about, talk about it consistently, and start leading that conversation. So that's one group of people who are employed. And then there are the founders, the people you're talking about that might own their own practice. So they could be an accountant or a lawyer, or they might be running a tech company, and they would like to work on their personal branding and thought leadership. So how it would work for them is the more visible they are online, the more they raise their own profile, the more valuable their company will become. They might have an exit strategy of 5 years. So they might be thinking, if I want to sell this company and I want to sell it for the most amount of money, that's my retirement fund, essentially. Then they need to start getting on LinkedIn. They need to start talking. They need to start demonstrating what they do, why their company is so valuable, how they built it up, how they deal with their customers, etc., etc. And it's about challenging the status quo for thought leaders. What's working, what isn't, what can we do differently? So when I'm out and about networking, one thing I really look for is people that have a bit of a firebrand. They're sort of trailblazers. They might show up and they're a bit angry, they're harassed, they're like, I'm so sick, I've had such a day because I've seen people doing this wrong and that wrong, and I'm tired of everyone doing it wrong. And those are the people I'm like, you need to be a thought leader, you need to get online, you need to start talking about this, you need to start changing the way things are done, shake things up.
Yeah. And what is your general feelings for thought leaders that you meet? Do you think they see the value in it straight away, or do you think that there's a little bit of an education piece when you're talking with these leaders?
Okay, so I think that everyone wants to be a thought leader, but they're not really sure what that means or what it entails or how they become one.
Yeah, can we dive into that a little bit?
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, so as I said, a thought leader is someone in their industry that isn't looking at what has been, they're looking at what's coming down the pipe. So they're looking like I was in 2019, go, hang on a minute, if I keep doing the same thing, being a translator, in 5 years' time, I'll have very little income, which is the reality. So that they need to be not worried about so much what's going on now. They need to be thinking, how can we change it? What's it going to look like in 2028, 2029, 2030, and start leading that conversation. So think of someone like Steve Jobs, who's very much a visionary. They need to be a visionary. They need to be entrepreneurial. They need to be able to look forward and then take everyone with them. And they do that by spreading ideas, which is very important. So they're saying, look, I've got an idea. We could do this differently. This isn't working. The current way everyone is doing this is frustrating. It's time consuming. Let's do it differently. Let's shake things up. Let's go in this direction. That's how, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, this guy's great. And they're always talking about, they know exactly my problems. And finally, we've got a solution, because often you'll find the establishment in each industry, which might be a professional body, is kind of quite happy with the status quo, and they're not really shaking things up. Yeah. So it's a lot about educating people how they might establish themselves as a thought leader. So a lot of my pieces on LinkedIn are about what they can do, the sort of thing they should be looking out for in their industry, the sort of thing they should be posting about to lead and change that conversation and shape the future. That's what a thought leader does. So everyone wants to be one. Not everyone's sure what it is or how to get there. So I do, as I say, a lot of education pieces about that. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. And I guess it just comes back to, giving these thought leaders more power of influence, right? Like if there's an influencer or a thought leader in the market, for me, I know that I'd be more inclined to go and work with them, go and do business with them,
Yeah.
trust them, which has, many
So many
advantages down
yeah.
the track.
Exactly, because it also helps. So if a CEO is posting really good thought leadership content, then you get the employee advocacy where everyone below him's like, oh, this is great, and they'll share it with their network. You get talent retention because people will want to stay working for that company. It will help the brand grow. It will help the company and the business grow. And it also means, that CEO, when he comes to look at his next position, he will be well known. So So it helps also attract new talent. So talent retention, attraction, grows the brand in a corporate sense for the company and the personal brand of the CEO or C-suite person posting.
Nice.
Multiple benefits.
Yeah, and I guess everyone's probably got their own thought leaders that they look up to.
Yeah.
And thinking about like ghostwriting, are there any thought leaders that you really like or follow that have ghostwriters? Do you know if they've got ghostwriters? How does the relationship between a
I think
ghostwriter work?
most of them do. So in terms of the ghostwriting, so I offer one service, which is my premium package, where I work with people and I will ghostwrite their long form content, because long form content really helps establish you as a thought leader. So by that I'm talking about newsletters, blogs, articles. We build up and then working towards a business book, because by having a business book it opens the doors to so many opportunities, such as going on a podcast like now, or media opportunities, speaking opportunities at conferences, congresses, that sort of thing. So that's where they want to end up, because pretty much every thought leader has a book. So that's the ultimate goal. But we start by building their content library with the newsletters, blogs, articles. So we build up over time. And if we do that strategically, we can be, when we're writing those blogs or those articles, they can actually be fleshed out and become chapters of a book over time. So that's the ghostwriter. So in terms of, what the question going back to was, is there someone that they aspire to?
Yeah, I guess just, I'm thinking of the thought leaders that I listen to and consume their content a lot, and I'm thinking, do these guys have a ghostwriter? Like, are there some
Stephen Bartlett or Andrew Priest, Daniel Priest?
Both of them, for example, Stephen Bartlett, Andrew Priest, they seem to be releasing content every day. I can't imagine that they are, busy
Working
writing
alone.
it all the whole
No.
time. Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for them. I know a lot of celebrities certainly do. One of the ghostwriters, to me, who's top of the game is J.R. Moringer. He ghostwrote Prince Harry's book Spare, which became a #1 bestseller. One of the best biography books written is Shoe Dog, by the guy who founded Nike. Have you read it?
Yeah, Phil Knight. That's one of my favorite books.
Yeah,
Actually.
absolutely. And so many people talk about that book. It's an incredible book. He ghostwrote that or co-wrote it. It depends. Some people don't want to use the term ghostwrote.
Ghostwriting,
For me, he's someone I look up to as a ghostwriter and aspire to be. And
just on that part, I guess ghostwriting books and thinking about Shoe Dog and some amazing stories, right? Like Ozzy Osbourne, he's got an amazing story. I can't imagine he wrote his book just because
probably not.
Just because he probably doesn't have the time, busy doing other things.
Touring, hasn't he?
But the how does the ghostwriter exist in the sense of the rights or the
Well, that really depends on the contract you have with the client, because some clients want to have 100% of the rights, so you don't get any royalties, and that's fine. I go in just generally with on a fee basis, and then they own all the rights, because it's quite complicated otherwise trying to work out the royalties, etc. But over time I might evolve, and I may, if someone said, I actually am in conversations with someone at the moment who wants to do a sort of split where it's 50% fees and for some rights, and we're working our way through that at the moment. So it really depends, and it also depends. Some people don't want you to mention them in your marketing. They don't want people to know they used a ghostwriter, and that's okay
Gotcha.
too. I'm not in it for any ego or anything. It's about them. They're the author. It's their book. It's their product. I just
Yeah.
want them to get there, achieve it.
Yeah, cool, cool.
Mm.
No, definitely, definitely see how there could be lots of different ways to position that.
Mhm.
And I think myself following your LinkedIn, you definitely practice what you preach. Would definitely put you in the category of a thought leader in that ghostwriting, copywriting, thought leadership
Okay,
space.
thank you.
Um, how, and I know that we've had a chat before this, the business is going well. How has the business been growing? Like what's been kind of working for you personally when you're looking to acquire customers or grow at the moment?
Well, LinkedIn is serving me really, really well. So I have a strategy. I post consistently. I know exactly what I want to talk about, and I know the sort of people. I know who I'm talking to. I have them in mind, and that's really important. So it isn't sort of everyone. It's never everyone. I know exactly who I'm talking to. I'm very strategic, as I said. I do practice what I preach. So LinkedIn is really helpful. I do a lot of networking, which reinforces that. I talk to a lot of people when I'm out and about networking about what I do. Everyone's always intrigued because they don't know anyone really doing this.
Hmm.
I'll introduce myself as a thought leadership ghostwriter and strategist, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more." So if someone I think it could benefit them, or they want to know more, we'll book a meeting away from that networking event, an online discovery call. We'll have a deeper chat. So most of my work comes through either people following me on LinkedIn and messaging me going, "Look, your LinkedIn's really working. I'm really struggling with mine. I'm not hitting the spot for whatever reason. Can we have a chat?" And it goes from there. Or I meet them at a networking event. We have a meeting. It goes from there. Or it's just simply word of mouth. So
Yeah.
I see how it works for me.
Cool, cool. Well, I'm glad it's going well at the moment. And if we fast forward it, where do you want to take the business? What is there an end game at some stage or
I'm so excited because I've only been doing this since about February this year. So I'm very fired up. I'm very passionate. I love talking about it. I'd like to do more speaking opportunities. This is the second podcast I've done this month. I've got a couple of other things in the pipeline. I'd like to speak at conferences. I know there are lots of conferences out there with C-suite people or budding C-suites who want to be in the C-suite in the next few years. I'd love to go and talk to them, help them with their thought leadership goals and how to achieve them. I want to grow my business. I want to create a framework that's, and build a team over time and grow so we can just really help people, as many people as possible that want to become thought leaders, become them. So yeah, certainly I feel like I'm on an incredible journey. I'm at the start of it and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Awesome. And I'm thinking, when we
And also another book in the pipeline, but I haven't quite worked out what it's about yet. But that would be, I want to write another book and about thought leadership.
yeah, cool,
Great instruction.
cool. And thinking of like team, I'm just imagining, the wealth of knowledge that you had. It'd be quite hard to hire another Antoinette.
I
Do you think?
I wouldn't need to hire another me. I would be hiring people, teaching them the framework, how to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I can't think of anything worse than working with myself. I think I think a team needs to be diverse.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And if there was a framework, that people could follow and
Mhm.
help to pass on what I guess that is where the scalability comes in, right?
Yeah,
You can
absolutely.
have the ability to bring on more and more clients because
There's
one,
only one of me. Yeah, there's only so many hours in the day. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, and that would mean that you won't get stuck, I guess, trading, time for money, right? You'll be able to
Exactly.
widen the network that way. And I think there's definitely a lot of need for what you do at the moment, Antoinette, because, there's communication at the moment is such a key thing. When there's so much content out there,
Yeah, it's filtered.
sometimes not that good, just kind of thrown into ChatGPT and
Yeah.
something's been spit out. It's good to see some focus
Well, that's
on
it, and I
what's
think
happening.
people are getting sick and tired of reading AI generated content that, as you said, has been badly curated and prompted, etc., and no thought gone into it. So yeah, by working with me, it doesn't mean we won't use AI. It would be foolish not to in this day and age, but it's about how we use AI, using it as a tool, not using it we need that, our content, a thought leadership content needs to really rise above the rest. It's the cream at the top, and that's where we want to be with that content.
Nice. Yeah, love that. The cream at the top, absolutely. Well, I've loved our chat, Antoinette, and I want to circle back to the question that I always ask every guest that comes on the show, which with the ability of hindsight, and I don't want you to just say, I know AI was going to come, so I wouldn't have done that. But if you were to go back before you went out by yourself and started being an entrepreneur and started to develop your own business, what words of advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I would always just say, just be you, be your true authentic self. Listen to your gut, because every time I didn't listen to my gut, it turned out to be right. I think millions of years of evolution can't be wrong. And we've evolved that ability to have gut instinct for a reason. So that would be something. And I would just say, I love the journey I've been on. I do feel throughout I've been myself, I've been who I want to be, and everything I've done has sort of led me to where I am now, and I think things do sort of happen for a reason. So I'm sorry, the only profound thing I would say is, you've got this, be confident. I think that's really important when you're young. Be confident in yourself and follow your gut instincts.
Love that. Be authentic, be yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely, that resonates with me. And Antoinette, for the people listening now, how...
Hey team, thanks for listening to Do It Yourself, Mate. If you like what you've heard, please give us a quick like and follow. This makes a big difference to that cheeky
you
algorithm.
can see my name on the screen.
If you want to come on the show or sponsor the podcast, then please inquire on my Reviewsy business website, which is reviewsy.co. That's REVIEWSY.co. You can find the application form on the About